Hey everybody, it's Professor Diffley. This is Criminal Justice Ethics. We are in Module 5, Chapter 4, which will be looking at utilitarianism. This is the last bit of the ethics philosophies, schools of thought. From after this week, we're going to start moving in now, applying these to areas of criminal justice ethics. So as you can see, as always, you have the learning objectives, the assignments, there's the reading from the chapter, the required videos, lecture slides. There's a website, a guide to utilitarianism, which covers some of the different parts of this, especially rule and act consequentialism. There is the lecture video. There's only one because this one's pretty straightforward. The videos do a great job, so make sure you look at the required videos. You got a quiz and a journal assignment. No discussion board this week, so that's what you're in this week. Again, look at the different videos. The trolley problem really sets up a lot of the issues here on what to do, what utilitarianism is all about. And you have a crash course video, and these brief, you can see it's about 13 minutes total of these other descriptions of utilitarianism. Make sure to watch them all. All right, let's just go through the slides real quick. So, we're in utilitarianism. Now, this is the exact opposite of formalism, deontological. This is a consequentialist. Deontological, or you call, does not care about consequences. It's about following rules, maxims. Here, all we care about is consequences. Something is right or wrong, depending on whether, on the outcome, is what we're looking at here. So, what is this? Consequentialist. What makes an action right or wrong is its consequences. The rightness of an action depends on the amount of good or utility it produces. Example, telling a lie. Deontological ethics say lying is always wrong. For consequentialists, for utilitarianism, it may be considered wrong simply because it leads to more unhappiness. It's good if it's permissible, if it leads to the greater good. So that's what utility means, right? How much good in the world does it create? We're only going to know that after we know the consequences, which can be an issue, to say the least. Where does it come from? Jeremy Bentham, this idea of utility. It's based on the concept of hedonism, right? Of pleasure, of good, above all else. Hedonism is the idea that people are motivated by the pursuit of pleasure and the avoidance of pain, and so therefore we should make our decisions in the same way. Again, how much happiness produced. He focused on punishment and the grounds for justifying such punishments in many ways, and that's where it's going to relate to criminal justice, but also this idea of how we make decisions. Again, the more good it produces, the better. The less, the worse. So then it's wrong, right? Actions are right in proportion as they tend to promote happiness, wrong in proportion as they pretend to produce the reverse of happiness, which would be pain. So that's how we're going to judge things. One way to look at this, you had to sum up this philosophy in one phrase, is the greatest good for the greatest many. So if something helps a majority, 50% plus one, then it is good. That is the view here. You also get this from John Stuart Mill, who expands upon it, of the work of Bentham. We call this teleological ethics here, based on the good that results. Again, same thing, by consequences. So, we don't care about motivations here, as we did in deontological ethics, right? If you have a corrupt motivation, then the outcome is corrupt. It doesn't matter what it is. Here, we only care about consequences. So, you see this in one of the videos, but here, take it this way. A robber is breaking and entering. He smashes open a window. Inside was a woman who had passed out because of a gas leak or a carbon monoxide leak. He breaks the window in an attempt to break and enter. He sees the woman, he runs away. Inadvertently, by breaking the window, he lets in fresh air, and the woman is saved. Now, according to utilitarianism, we would say that is fine. He did a good thing, right? Because he saved her. That's troubling for some, is because did he intend to save her? And he was trying to break and enter. He was going to steal. He was committing a crime. But we're going to say his action was okay because it saved the woman, because of the consequence. Doesn't matter what his motivation was, right? He didn't set out to save her. He set to rob her. But we only care about consequences here. Again, only desirable ends for humans, Mill said, was pleasure and freedom from pain, which is the absence of pain is the absence of pleasure. We're rational human beings, and then we're capable of more of our basest pleasures. So a lot of utilitarianism says you got to focus on more than just your own desires here, right? It says that your opinions, your desires matter, but no more so than anybody else. It's a big key here, right? Whatever you may want, you can consider, but it has no more value, no more weight than everybody else's, is what he's going to argue. Again, the greatest happiness principle, that's the greatest good for the greatest number. We're looking for consensus, for everybody, total amount of happiness, not just individuals. Again, requires a person to be strictly impartial and a disinterested spectator. And that's what I mean by your desires matter, but no more so than anybody else's. They have no more weight. So this is what they argued. What causes unsatisfactory lives? What makes people unhappy? Selfishness. When you care for nobody but yourself, it's unhappiness because it lacks both public and private affections that contribute greatly to happiness, right? If you only care about yourself, you're going to be willing to hurt others, and you only measure happiness and good by your own. Lack of mental cultivation is another problem that they see for this, of why people live unhappy lives. A person with a cultivated mind is interested in everything and wants to learn and wants to grow and better. People without this don't really care about anything else and don't care about other people. So it's very selfish. And so they're saying you have to get away from these things to do this. Mill also builds upon the golden rule, as we've seen everybody sort of criticize and has more of it. Laws and social arrangements should be placed the happiness of every individual, harmony with everybody, right? So trying to get everybody together. Remember, deontological and others criticize the golden rule because it says treat people how you want to be treated. But again, the problem with that is, well, what if you have, if you're willing to be pain inflicted upon you, then the argument is that's the golden rule. Pain is good. That's a problem because most people don't see it that way. I think education and opinion should use their power over human characters to establish in every an indissoluble association between your own happiness and the good of the whole, right? So again, trying to get away from selfishness here. But this is, again, it requires us to be strictly impartial for this, reconciling individual happiness with the group happiness, right? So we're supposed to subserve that there. And if you see your own happiness as part of what also enhances the happiness of others, you're going to look for you're going to create greater total happiness here. Again, avoid selfishness. There are criticisms of this, right? And you'll see in the video, I mean, say you have a chance to, and you'll see this in the trolley problem, that 5 people are going to die by the runaway train. You can flip a switch and it will switch it down another track, but somebody will die there. The argument is, it is better to kill that one person so that the other 5 may live. You have a net gain of 5 people. Another one of the videos, you come across soldiers about to execute people, and they hand you a gun and say, if you shoot this one person, innocent person, done none to you, you kill them, we'll let the others go. Problem with this is you're killing innocents to achieve this greater good, which many would say is not right. And so that's, you'll see in the videos, differences between act and rule, right? A rule is, the rule utilitarianism is it's always wrong to hurt the innocent, even if it's going to create greater good. Act is more or less going to say, no, we only care about the greater consequences here. So killing an innocent person is okay as long as it saves others, would be the view. And you can read more of the selfishness of humans blocks us from achieving happiness. Again, avoid selfishness. But another criticism is the end justifies the means, right? We don't care how we got there, just what happens. This seems to allow just about anything, a justification for anything. Yeah. One of the problems is you don't actually know outcomes, right? So the only way to judge this is after the fact, right? After we've done whatever we've done. That's a problem for many because consequences cannot be known ahead of time. There's no way to fully know them. And you have to think of all the long-term effects here. But really, if you believe in utilitarianism, you can go around murdering, doing bad things, if you can argue that it helped enough people. So this would, again, seem to suggest that in certain instances, killing the innocent is fine. Which, again, most people would not believe, and again, goes against criminal justice beliefs everywhere. Again, this is the idea that we want more ethical conduct is forced in utilitarianism by individual hope of favor and fear of displeasure, and from others or from God. So this is right. People, there's no real rules to live by here. Is kind of one of the arguments. You can see this all in the videos. They do a great job of explaining all this. One of the things, though, is summarizing. Here's a summary of all the three ethical theories, major ones we're looking at: virtue, formalism, and utilitarianism. And make sure to know these views and this box. It's also in your text, and because now what we're going to start doing going ahead is applying these there. But you need to know the differences. You can very much expect on the midterm to have be able to distinguish between the all three. Here's another view of it and just a different color and all that. So, all right. So that is utilitarianism. Again, seek the greatest total happiness. The greatest good for the greatest many is the goal here. Criticisms of it, be aware of the criticisms. Are people really going to make selfless decisions, or when it comes down to it, will most people look out for only themselves, which goes against most of what utilitarianism argues. Again, there's no rules to follow. You make it based on the situation, on the consequences. All right, well, make sure you watch the videos, read the book, watch the slides, read through the slides. Make sure you take a look at the notes. The trolley problem video and some of the others really do give good examples of this. As always, you got questions, let me know. All right, folks, good luck, and I'll talk to you later.